Hey everyone, it's Fitz with your post-game walk and talk, but I'm in my studio. I did not go. I'm suffering from a cold. Let's see if I can get through this without too much hacking or sniffling. Very nice if I can do that. What a great game that was. Not perfect, not particularly well played by Kansas State at times, but getting out of Lawrence after KU threw everything it could at Kansas State with a 31-27 victory says a lot about this team as they move to 8-3 to come home to close the regular season with Iowa State. We'll see what happens. Iowa State, of course, lost to Texas on Saturday night. So the chances of Kansas State making the Big 12 championship rely on needing a lot of help since Iowa State didn't provide that. But so be it. Hey, make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube channel. We've had a really good week of coverage of K-State sports. It's been really fun. We went over 11K. We appreciate all the support. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, leave those comments, and turn on the alerts. The insiders will be really interesting on Monday. You don't want to miss that. I appreciate my guys being over there today. Cole Carmody jumped in for me, and Michael Goins and, of course, Zach Carlson are there. Ryan Gilbert's down in Bahamas. He spent the day on a boat. I hate Ryan Gilbert. Let's get to the game, though, man. What a great football game, and what a gutsy performance by Will Howard. Again, it was another one of those situations where I really thought the coaches should maybe give Avery Johnson, a possession to see if that straight-up quarterback run game would work. But the coaches stayed the course. They continued to show a lot of faith in Will. And, they were rewarded for that because he came up big at the end of the game. But the defense also came up big with an enormous interception. There's so many people to shout out in this, but I want to shout out, first of all, an area of this football team that I've been greatly critical of all season long, and that's special teams. And special teams won this game. There wasn't that huge return or anything like that, but there was that blocked extra point early in the game. Right when KU takes the lead, they block that extra point, take one away from KU. They scoop it up, and Keenan Garber goes the distance, add 2 to K-State. So that 3-point swing in a 4-point game was enormous, kind of changed the context of what KU needed to do late. They needed to get into the end zone instead of kicking a field goal, and that led to that interception. And, of course, there was a huge muff punt by KU late in the game that K-State recovered. It was on K-State's side of the field, so they were going to have great field position, but special teams failed. Kansas, huge in this game, and K-State took advantage of it. Though I think the MVP of the game was on the losing team. And I'm not talking about Cole Ballard, the quarterback, who was fantastic for being a redshirt or a true freshman walk-on, just incredible. They're going to have a really solid backup next season for Jalen Daniels. It was impressive. Kid's a gamer. Some of his skill set's a little bit limited, but the MVP is Andy Kotelicki, the offensive coordinator for KU. Just brilliant scheming of the K-State defense. He made that K-State defense really look unsettled at times with some really complicated schemes. They were running a lot of stuff with Wildcat quarterbacks, running the option, shifting their blocking assignments quite a bit. Just really tinkered with some things to even out the game since they were down to their third-string quarterback. And as Chris Kleiman said all week, this game wasn't really about the quarterback. It was about the offensive system because Kotelicki does such an incredible job with that offense. It's very complex pre-snap, and as I warned, it caught K-State out of position a number of times on defense. That's the goal, to beat you before the ball's even snapped, and he's really good at it. Do I think Chris Kleiman and Lance Leipold will be around for a long time fighting this game out? Yeah, I kind of do. I'm really already looking forward to next year's in Manhattan. We'll see who's quarterbacking that game for both teams. But Kotelicki, people are going to come after him. I mean, he's pretty brilliant, and he kind of changes an offense by maybe closing the gap on talent to start with. But now that they're loading up talent, it makes them really, really dangerous. It's not a gimmick. It's a brilliant scheme they run. But K-State just found a way to win, and it kind of came down to the running game with DJ Giddens and the offensive line late. Trayshawn Ward with a huge broken run got out, when just right after KU almost had a pick six. Will Howard made a dreadful throw, and it was dropped. The next play goes 50-plus yards. Gutsy performance by Kansas State. Really gutsy performance. And it's the kind of close game performance on the road that we haven't seen them come out on top of. But when they got the ball back, they just ground away at the clock and were able to run it out. I think all of us who thought K-State would cover was hoping for that long run to get it over the top, but it didn't. KU technically covered the whatever you bet. It started at, 5.5, traveled as high as 10, came back to 8.5 or 8 by the time kickoff came when it looked like Bean might play, which was all kind of for show. They suited him up, I think, for show. That seemed like a Snyder move. K-State comes home for Iowa State next week. I misspoke in an earlier daily delivery. I'm going to confess. Iowa State game is not sold out for K-State. So K-State fans, if you want every game of this K-State season to be sold out, home and away, you got some tickets to buy. And I know it's the Thanksgiving weekend, but let's see if we can get this done. K-State has an opportunity to get to 9-3 and need some help to get to the championship game. If all the teams now tied towards the top, there's 3, 1 game behind Texas and Oklahoma State and K-State. The 2 ways for K-State to get in are Texas to lose, the other 3 to win. We get a 4-way tie to pick the 2 teams. As of right now, K-State and Oklahoma would come out in that game, which is interesting. If either Oklahoma or Oklahoma State lose, K-State would lose the tiebreaker to those schools, and they lose the tiebreaker now with the rule change late in the season here with all 3. So you either need Texas to lose or Oklahoma and Oklahoma State both to lose. You see the problem. The chances aren't real good, but enjoy this one. K-State wins number 15 in a row against the Kansas Jayhawks. But the Jayhawks are getting better, and next year's going to be a treat.